Hello, my German friends. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Ryan. Look at this car. Germany's oldest street legal car. You can drive that. Look at the trunk. It's literally a trunk. I just thought this was a fun looking video from one of my favorite channels about Germany, DW Euromax. Let's go.
This is the Benz Victoria, built by German automobile pioneer Karl Benz over 100 years ago.
Wow. I wonder how that compares to like the Model T. You know, I think the Model T is the first mass manufactured car, at least. I don't know. At least in America. It looks like it's from the same kind of era. All right, I'm going to pause this until this comes back. Technical difficulties. Hold on. The issues have been resolved. Thank you for waiting.
German automobile pioneer Karl Benz over 100 years ago. Today, Karl-Heinz Rehkopf, dressed for the occasion, is taking the vintage ride for a spin.
The fact that this thing still runs, what the... And look at the condition. Good for Carl. Wow. Is that the turn signal?
It even has a regular license plate. This old-timer is street legal.
It's so epic. It's got bicycle wheels on it. I can't imagine how rough this ride must be. It's basically like a carriage, like for a horse.
This is the vehicle that passed down its genes to all other cars. The unique thing about this car is that it's the oldest one still allowed on German roads.
But how many miles to the gallon does it get?
Needless to say, the vintage Benz Victoria has its quirks.
I guess you guys say kilometers to the gallon.
This isn't a steering wheel, but more a steering arm.
How did I never know that? What?
I'll move it. And the's a curious kind of indicator that shows you in which direction the car will go.
I can't believe that's how... I'm a little bit surprised because there's no power steering back then, so you'd think you'd need both hands. How are you just gonna have this tiny little thing? Wouldn't that be really difficult? That's so cool.
And then I have a small lever that I control with my left hand to accelerate.
Oh, neat. So there's no foot pedals.
This car has 2 gears. And when I want to brake, I need to get out of gear quickly so that I'm in neutral. Then I can use either my foot brake or my hand brake to my left.
Oh, man. But you can drive it completely foot-free. And look at there's no seatbelts or anything, man. This looks comfortable. Looks like a nice couch.
I have 2 horns. One that I squeeze, and a so-called klaxon that I control with my foot.
Karl-Heinz Rehkopf bought the vintage...
I didn't know that's actually... It sounds just like the sound effects from the old movies.
Control with my foot.
Love it.
Karl-Heinz Rehkopf bought the vintage car in 2009. Until then, it had been in the possession of the well-to-do Gutermann family for 4 generations.
Well-to-do.
In fact, one former owner even managed to get the first ever speeding ticket in this car for going through town at an eye-watering 29 kilometers an hour.
I just need to convert that. Oh, 18 miles an hour. I could run that fast. I don't know. I haven't ran that fast in a long time, but hopefully I still could.
Well, going top speed does feel like the car is really at its limit.
That's not too shabby, though.
The steering arm and everything doesn't feel very stable.
Yeah, you don't want the wheels to fall off.
Whenever the car struggles, you struggle with it. And when it rains, you both get wet. You obviously want to avoid that.
But having those kind of issues, I don't know. I feel like it makes life a little more interesting. Bring it back. We need to go back in time. Stuff is too easy now. People are too comfortable.
It's rare that Karl-Heinz Rehkopf takes this vintage car out on the road. Usually, it can be admired at a transport museum near Göttingen. Michael Marx, the museum's mechanic.
I love how the trunk is an actual trunk. Is that why it's called a trunk? I mean, you guys speak German, so maybe you don't know what I'm talking about, but is the trunk in America, we would call the back, a trunk in the car. And that is like a trunk, like a chest. So is it the same word in Germany? Like, do you use the same word for a chest in the boot of the car? Do you call it the boot? No, you don't call it the boot. I don't know what you call it in Germany.
Mechanic knows exactly how to fix Victoria if something's not working as it should.
It kind of does look like a little steering wheel from this angle. You could put your hands on top like this.
Here you can see the piston. It's a big one. It's got a 3-liter engine. You can see it running.
It looks so well
Unlike cars
made.
today, simply turning the ignition isn't enough to start it up. First, you need to pull a few levers and adjust the engine settings to the weather conditions so it runs smoothly.
No shot. What? To the weather condition?
A few levers and adjust the engine settings to the weather conditions so it runs smoothly.
Well, what the heck? What? Where's the what? How do you know what the correct setting is here? Like sunny, rainy, windy? I don't see what he's putting it at to. I would never be able to get this thing started.
As you can imagine, depending on the weather, temperature, humidity, and air pressure, you need to fiddle around pretty
You had to be a lot more smart to drive a car.
long until the engine runs properly.
That's how it should be. Then you wouldn't have as many morons on the road. There we go. Bring these cars back. First of all, no one would. I mean, you're only going 18 miles an hour, so no more car crashes that are fatal. And not as many stupid people on the road being jerks. Boom. Fantastic.
In April 2019, they took Benz Victoria for a technical inspection to see if it was safe to drive on German roads. After an in-depth inspection, the car was given the go-ahead. But only under a few conditions, as car mechanic Burkhard Niemitz explains.
The car doesn't have any electrical wiring, so hazard warning lights were not retrofitted, which usually is required. And the car doesn't have blinkers. That means the car may only be driven in daytime, in good weather conditions. And the driver must carry a signaling disc.
So, in America here, you do hand signals like this, Do you guys, like if you're riding a bicycle, you don't have that big thing. Obviously, you don't have that. Do you do hand signals? That's pretty funny. I like the disc.
Ray Kopp's wife is usually in charge of the signaling disc whenever the two go out for a ride. Though the car isn't really built for long-distance travel anyway, its tiny tank quickly runs out of gas. Besides, it doesn't run on ordinary fuel, but rather on petroleum ether, which these days you can only get in pharmacies.
In pharmacies? I love this guy. I love how he's carrying this potion back to the car.
Petroleum ether,
I don't know.
which these days you can only
Look
get
at that.
in pharmacies.
He's like showing it off.
But even with a
How far does that get you? 1 quart of petroleum ether. How far is that going to get him back home?
But even with a full tank, you won't get anywhere fast.
I guess this is about embracing slowness. It's not about reaching your destination per se, but about enjoying the ride itself.
Wow.
Das Fahren das Ziel ist.
It looks nice. It would honestly be a lot of fun. I would not take it on the Autobahn. Imagine. Time to say goodbye. What? That's sad. That's a sad update. That was fun. I hope you guys had fun. I'll be here tomorrow, of course. I hope you are too. Learning more about Germany. Have a fantastic day. And I hope the weather over there is just crispy and nice. Goodbye.